Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Hello, everybody.
Ruben Bressler.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I appreciate how the podcast listeners have no idea what's going on. Absolutely.
Oh, I just have a little bit of jumblies because Aaron was humid.
She was doing stuff.
Evan, you got me on here not even centered.
For as low as $5 a
You were
month.
probably centered before you started, rocking
Right,
the boat.
and then there was things and the fly hands. It was a whole thing,
it's
all right?
possible.
It was crazy. Well, look, we also kick it off with our first big giveaway. $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com up for grabs. Type !raffle in the chat for your chance to win. But if you subscribe first, even with those Bezos bucks, you get 2 chances to win.
Excellent news.
That's right. And that runs out at 45 minutes after, so get those entries in there. As we talk about the first pick, well, they did it. They went and done it. Wizards of the Coast banned so much this week for the October 12th. Oh my God. For the October 12th, 2020 ban restricted announcement. Let's get started. For Standard, they banned Omnath, Locus of Creation, also known as the key expensive mythic from Zendikar Rising. Lucky Clover is banned. Escape to the Wilds is banned because they are not kidding you. It's over for the ramp for a while.
Well,
stop it with the ramp.
I mean, Escape from the Wilds really was the one that I thought was most obvious before. I actually thought that was going to go with Uro.
That's true. I thought it was going to go at least something else before.
Because, that's another one from Throne.
Right.
They could let Omnath mess around for a little while.
Right. Now, because it's 2020, we're not done with the bans or the suspensions. In Historic, Omnath was suspended. Teferi Time Raveler was officially banned, get out. Wilderness Reclamation was officially banned, get out. But Burning Tree Emissary is unsuspended back into the format.
Yeah, smart.
Which is awesome.
That card was never egregious. It was good. But something should be good.
Right.
And then the format did kind of devolve into these mid-range gross idiot decks, which was partially Omnath, Uro decks, but partially also because they got rid of something that added Devotion, something that was a free 2/2 like a Frogmite that you could get Embercleave going with. So the fact that I would be happy if Embercleave was the best card in both formats, and I think we're close. The bans are a good start. Lucky Clover is a weird one. It's kind of out of nowhere.
It was okay. I never felt like it was OP. I never felt like, your Beanstalk Giant went off twice. The game's just done.
The issue was Fae of Wishes twice, Bone Crusher Giant twice.
Yeah.
Those were the real egregious ones. Yeah, I actually thought Bone Crusher Giant had a chance at a ban.
Oh, really?
Because it was in 31 of the 32 decks.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. That one's less about the overpoweredness of the card, and that one is more along the lines of every game's exactly the same, right?
Well,
you play it on turn 2 every game.
Right, at that point you're just at rate, right?
Yeah.
The rate is so good. It's great for 2 mana and it's great for 3 mana, and it goes
It's interesting
on
as somebody who plays older formats to see, everybody celebrating that these cards aren't in Standard anymore, and then having to deal with them, in Modern, in Legacy.
Sure.
Canister won a Modern Challenge with an Omnath deck this past weekend. I've been playing a lot of Legacy lately in preparation for Eternal Weekend, which we might talk about later. That format is Okos and Uros and Growth Spirals and Field of the Deads, and it's just you just get to see how powerful these cards are, that they can hang with Delver of Secrets and with Wasteland and with Vengevine, and it's just it really puts things in perspective.
Right.
at the power level that we are currently enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omnath turns out, when I first read the card, I thought it was just kind of goofy. I thought it was, that's cute. That's a good, hilarious landfall mythic. Turns out it's compares favorably to Siege Rhino. It compares ridiculously to Loxodon Hierarch. There are things from days past when you look at Omnath and you go, this is better than Pro Tour winning cards, and it gets ridiculous.
Well, it used to be rare that a card would make an impact, in Legacy or in Vintage. Sometimes you would see maybe one card in a set, if that card even lasted. There were always cards that people would try, but it was very rare that a card would come out of the gate and immediately impact Modern, Legacy, and Vintage. And now it just feels like you're almost surprised when a set comes out and you're like, there's there's nothing for us, because for a while, every set has had something for these older formats.
Until like M21, it was like, dear God, what incredibly busted thing are you doing now?
Right.
And M21 was like, all right, we're not going to break much. It's going to be fine. We'll do a little bit here and there. We'll wait till Zendikar Rising, till that stupid mythic goes insane. And this was something we talked about yesterday on the pre-show for our top 10 defenders, which was everything's so good nowadays. There's cards that we just don't give a crap about that would be all stars 5 years, 10 years ago. But we're used to it. Like, we are spoiled at this point with getting such awesome things on such awesome rates.
Right.
I guess we're lucky we got to keep Edgewall Innkeeper. You know?
Right. I mean, you read like Linvala, the new Linvala, and you're like, man, this thing would have run every format 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it just is never going to see play anywhere.
We're not even going to talk about it. I don't even know what it does. It doesn't matter. So they were talking about historic, and also, of course, if you needed to know, it's also banned in Brawl. Omnath was banned in Brawl,
which is very good. The entire format was Brawl.
It was
like,
just
everyone was playing Omnath all the time.
It was gross. And they haven't banned it, I believe, in Historic Brawl, but they said something like they're going to... It's legal in Historical Brawl events, this is quoting them, on MTG Arena. However, we will be using our Commander Weighting system. There's a Commander Weighting system, apparently, so that he will more frequently be paired against other similarly powerful commanders. So it's going to be you and Niv-Mizzet Reborn, and you go sit in the corner and play your weird game. Go,
I love it.
Blow your heads off. It's fine, whatever. So that is a thing where they banned a lot. A lot of people said they wouldn't do it. A lot of people said they're not going to ban the Chase Mythic from Zendikar. So help me figure this out. I understand that there's not a lot of events, if any, happening, but there are a tiny amount of events. There are people who are still holding events.
Right.
That's a little crazy to me, but there are people who do that. But for a card that was out for about 2.5 weeks to be up to $30 to $40 to sell at $30 to $40, like, these copies weren't just priced that way and they never sold. They're priced to sell. They're priced at the market, what the market will bear. The market bore $30+ for these Omnaths, where there's no big events coming, like, not even close. It's not even like you could say, well, there's a Grand Prix scheduled for next April. No, there's nothing. It's weird to me. I'm trying to figure this out, right? And I think it also ties into what we've talked about with the Secret Lair stuff, with the Invisible stuff, and the fact that Magic players like Magic cards, and a lot of the Magic players that you never hear from are the Invisibles that buy all those Magic cards, even at these high rates, even if there is no events. They want Omnath for their kitchen table for a very expensive price. How many spikes are buying those Omnaths? I don't think it was a lot.
No, it's not. And, I mean, the other thing about the pandemic is that, there are some industries that are not suffering as much as other industries. Magic is one of them. Magic is, and other games, board gaming, Dungeons and Dragons, those games are doing okay because there's something to do. There's something that you can do with your circle, whatever it is, 2 families that live on your block that you can play with outside, and your family that you live at home with. It's something that you can do together with your dozen people that are in your circle. And it makes you feel better. It makes you forget about the world for a while. That's always been the power of Magic the Gathering. It can still bring people together, just in smaller groups. And so the demand is still there. It's comfort food. So, and you're also not going out and spending money on concerts, not going out and spending money on Magic tournaments and like Grand Prix. So you're going to spend your money elsewhere, and it's going to be on Omnath. And so that's going to drive up prices of all that kind of stuff.
Sure. I mean, and then there are new tools these days to play Commander online, which is nice. Yeah. That's a thing, spell table and stuff. But yeah, overall, that was just one of those things where I was like, I'm trying to figure out how these cards get that expensive, because normally, what the thinking was, well, they're great in, tournament decks, right? So the tournament decks are driving the high prices. But when there's no tournaments, what's driving the high prices?
Yeah.
Well, I think that it also exposed that myth that it was high prices. It's never the tournaments that drive the high prices.
Right. Man, I like how this segues.
Yeah.
Did anybody get a chance to watch the Grand Super Upper Decker finals with the lower bracket side stuff?
I caught it off and on throughout the weekend. I tuned in to see Emma and Autumn play because they both made top 8. Congratulations
that was great, by the
to
way.
them. And I spent a lot more time watching it on Sunday just to see how everything shook down. And I will say, despite the homogenization, despite seeing the same deck over and over, I did feel like there were some really interesting lines. The decks didn't seem as autopilot as people thought they were. And so I enjoyed the games very much. I also enjoyed the, Austin Bursavich makes a really good heel, and so it was really entertaining to see him take down beloved people like Emma, like Autumn. You had some national pride there in terms of Patrick, I believe his name was. Patrick was the Brazilian player, I believe. And, people said that he kind of quietly came out of nowhere. He was somebody who, came up through the ranks the way that we know it, and he, had a great weekend. And so, I think everybody had somebody to root for. I think coverage was enjoyable to watch. But everybody saw that these cards needed to go.
Yeah, of course. I think that the Omnath mirror, because the Omnath lines are so similar, the builds showcased how those builds were better. Like throughout that top 8, you could tell that Austin Bursavich's build of the deck was built to win this top 8. It was better than the other builds. Like the individual card choices, every card in the 75 mattered. And it was just like a textbook showcase of deck building. In addition to the fact that, of course, Emma and Autumn, I think, so this is the first Pro Tour level event in which only 6 men made top 8. And so that is, of course, laudable. 2 Frenchmen made top 8. Austin Bursavich is an incredible story, whether you like him or not, from going from banned / suspended for whether you agree with the reasoning or not, being unable to play in premier level events, to winning effectively Worlds. I mean, the stories were so good coming out of this event.
It was just that, the organized play and what's happening with the organized play leading to this, trying to figure out who was going to be playing in this, how they got qualified, what happens to the people. What the hell is a grand finals? We don't know.
From what I understand, it's basically the equivalent of Worlds, but they couldn't call it Worlds because of the pandemic and because of the shortened seasons. Because the contract signed, it wasn't officially a Worlds.
As someone who really loves branding and appreciates branding, and you want to make sure your branding's on point, and the fact that I know how much the Wizards cares about their branding.
I know.
It always felt like when it comes to organized play, they never care that much, and it certainly feels like they don't care that much now. And, and it's something that, I was talking about on Twitter a few days ago, where it was like, organized play is a mess. Organized play is a hot mess.
I think this goes back to what you said, though. I think, you mentioned the way that the pandemic has really peeled back some of the illusions that we had about Magic. You mentioned the invisibles and who's really buying cards. And I think you're also seeing the illusion being torn away that Wizards cares about competitive Magic. That's not to say that they don't care, but for a while they did a really good job of, I hesitate to say putting up a front, but it's like, they gave you GPs, they gave you Pro Tours, but in reality, those guys weren't buying cards. Those guys were borrowing decks. Those guys were borrowing cards. They were maybe buying a weird sideboard card that was needed that weekend, but, they're not the ones buying playmats. They're not the ones buying coasters. They're not the ones doing all of that. And so I think that's another illusion that you're seeing being peeled away is, they're really, kind of not taking as good of care of it because they really didn't care about it that much. But I think it would have been too stark to just completely pull the plug.
I think the way I would put it, and having known Wizards and people in Wizards for as long as I have, I think the way to imagine it is that the tournament spikes got into Wizards really early. They got into areas of authority really early. So things that were revolving around competitive Magic and contributed to it, got lots of attention, got money, got resources, and over time building things like Plane Chase, things like striking on Commander and really riding that as far as they could go, they found that, oh, wait a minute, these casual products are crushing these highly tuned super strategic whatevers. And it's like, what if we just made good cards, because it's fun to play Magic with good cards instead of bad cards. And as organized play has just devolved into, I don't even understand it, the fact they deleted 25 years worth of tournament data, the Pro Tour is gone, the Pro Tour Hall of Fame is gone, there's some weird Hall of Fame coming up at some point. Maybe it's just like competitive Magic is nice, isn't actually what's making Magic successful.
Right, and I think you've also seen that with this regime change. When you look at all of these old, these stalwarts of Magic and Magic game plan, they're no longer with the company anymore. I think that attitude really left with them. You had a lot of, like you said, these people came in at the entry level. They came in during the good old days back when, you did a lot of things just because. Like, you would never say 5 years ago, let's abolish the Pro Tour. You would never say that because regime would have never let it happen. But when you take away people who say, well, we've always done it this way, you can start doing a lot more, weird, innovative things, and I think that's what we're seeing right now.
Like, if we could just kind of repeat history a little bit, like if they were to tell me and say, look, we're going to get rid of your grand upper lower bracket final, maybe it's a Worlds, it's not really Worlds, but it's $250,000 we're spending, so we hope you watch it. Mm-hmm. If we were to get rid of that and to bring back the Magic player reward system, if they were to send cool commander cards to everyone that has a Wizards.com account or something, that would be awesome. And maybe that would actually get more people, to stay in and stay involved and stay playing and being part of the Magic ecosystem. Because again, the more they've leaned away from competitive Magic, the better Magic's been getting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the thing that's weirdest to me from the standpoint of me being a tournament player,
right,
for so long. The thing that's weirdest to me is it doesn't matter. Competitive Magic. I thought competitive Magic drove the bus. Mm-hmm. From my perspective, at the front of the bus, when I was as a tournament player myself, I was like, hey, all that matters is tournament results. Mm-hmm. That's why all these cards sell, right? Turns out the cards sell because they're good, but they sell to people playing on their kitchen tables, people
and I don't
playing
think
with
that's
their
an
families.
accident either, because when I first came back to the game, so I was one of those people that took a really long break. I took a break shortly after Urza's Legacy, and then I came back around Innistrad, and I was one of those people that to a certain extent, I think it's propaganda, where it was like you need to be on the Pro Tour, you need buys, you need Planeswalker points, and I remember buying into that, and so I spent years playing decks that I hated, events I didn't want to be at, until finally I just kind of looked at it and I was like, I don't want to be on the Pro Tour. Why am I doing this? And so, but because that's what the messaging was all around me, that you need to be here. This is what you need to be doing. And it wasn't until I finally said to myself, like, I don't even want this, that, I really started to enjoy the game more. And I think a lot of people, are, peeling that veil off and having that conversation with themselves and having that reality of, I can still enjoy Magic if I'm not a Grand Prix winner. I don't have to be on the Pro Tour to be somebody or to feel like I'm somebody. You can play Commander, you can play Pauper, you can play Brawl, you can play Historic Brawl, and I think people are starting to realize that.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of getting to that point to where you go, if the MPL just didn't exist, if Wizards just didn't have these events and instead did a $100,000 pro-am with a bunch of celebrities who played Commander against each other,
it'd make the company way more money, it'd get way more eyeballs,
way more attention, we'd be way more stoked to see it. And again, this, it hurts me because let me tell you, I grew up as the competitive Magic player. That's what I loved about Magic. I wanted to live the dream. I tried to live the dream. I went to all the events, me and a couple of buddies, and we, Ruben, sleeping in bathtubs. It's a thing we did, man. We did whatever it took to be, good, have competitive Magic. But
whatever you think the largest number of people who slept in one hotel room with me and Evan is, whatever you think the number is, it was higher. Whatever you think the number is, almost guaranteed. The number is higher than you think it is.
Oh, God, there was that one kid who wouldn't sleep. He was just playing Magic Online all night and just calling people idiots all night. Oh, my God, it was amazing. So, yeah, I mean, and while those were amazing times, I had a great time, enjoyed myself, it was cool.
Yeah.
Again, is this what makes Magic successful? And I just think a lot of people thought it was, and it just seems like it certainly isn't.
Yeah, I mean, you watch like the Pro-Am Fall Guys tournaments, and then you watch competitive Fall Guys. Like the Pro-Am has way more people because T-Pain is there or whatever.
Exactly. Like, I would want to see Ninja play Commander. Like, that would be cool to me. I want to see those people I know that are online personalities.
Yeah.
That's way more interesting.
Get me the Masked Singer people to get knocked out. Like,
exactly.
Get Carol Baskin a Kahira deck. Like, we'll make it work.
Whatever. Give me some D-level celebs. We got this. We can do it. I'm just saying, I think there's this weird moment, it even just for me. I mean, my God, I've been over here talking about Magic for years and years and years and years, and I'm going, okay, my mind's a little blown in that all these things are happening. These cards are just as expensive as they are, and no events are happening. That says a lot, you know? And it's not that we wanted this, but this was the only way to have a literal global pandemic was the only way to figure out if this was true. And it's true. Organized play is cute, it's fun, it's nice, but it is not the crux of Magic's success. Yeah. All right. Let's move on, y'all. To let's see what we got up next here. Our Proliferate Cube. Someone tell me about this cube. Aaron?
I don't cube.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Well, it's Emma's cube, so that's why I went there.
Right.
But this is from Emma Handy, who made her own cube, which is awesome.
Aaron, tell us about cube.
Well, tell us about Emma's cube. It was really whatever. The point is,
that'd be like me looking at you and go, Evan, tell us about birth control. Like,
oh my God.
Hashtag 5 kids.
Shut it down.
Shut them down.
Show's over. Everybody go home.
We're never going to beat that moment. I just want y'all to know for the rest of the evening. That was the best. It goes from there. But yeah, there was an article that she wrote here about Emma's Proliferate Cube that talks about the archetypes of green ramp and red aggro and stuff. This is just, we are able to have a community member to create a custom list of their own cube and then be able to feature Magic Online. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and Proliferate is a great theme for a cube. I've played with a counters cube in the past, like first picking Contagion Engine. Like that's my jam.
For sure.
I'm all in on it. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, Emma. No secret that Emma loves Infect decks. That's sort of her pet deck. Anytime it's like remotely viable, she'll play it. We had a very memorable feature match, which I think you can still find on YouTube, where I was playing Dredge and she was playing Infect. And so I'm not surprised to see that she has built a cube around this. I'm not surprised to see that she's been doing more design work. She also played a part in the creation of Chew Lane, the Chew Lane deck, and so it's really great to see that she's getting more opportunities to show a different side of herself. She's one of those people that just has it, whether it be coverage or whether it be a good player, whether it be a cube designer. Like, she really is just like the triple, quadruple threat.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy her while you can before she goes to Wizards and we never see her again.
I think she's had opportunities before, and I think she's happy with what she has.
All right.
Yeah, and I also think there's definitely a point where a lot of people feel like they want to work at Wizards, and then there's a lot of point where people go, well, maybe that's not really, they have to get up and play competitively and stuff like that.
It's important too, and I think that Emma knows that. Like, it's not that it's not for her, but I think Emma knows kind of what we know, that like it's we don't have that sort of starry-eyed, oh my God, it's a job at Wizards. Like, I think she's sort of down to earth like we are in terms of that.
Right. Fair enough. All right. So that's awesome to hear for her. Congratulations on that. This was an awesome article to pop up this week. Goodness gracious. There is going to be some amazing auctions for original Magic art. This is the alpha stuff.
Yeah.
Alpha. We're talking the original Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Mark Tadin's Jizam Jin. Mark Poole's Birds of Paradise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The classics.
No. Sorry, I'm misreading this. So it's Demonic Tutor as well as the Alpha Mana Flare, as well as Contract from Below, JM Day Tome, which is awesome, and Mark Poole's Fear.
Where are you? Where are the auctions up yet?
No, not yet. I think they're going to start at Heritage Auctions on November 19th through 21st.
There's no link here. Why?
There's a link in the show notes.
No, I mean like in the article itself. Like I don't see.
Right. ICV2, God bless them. They're a news site. I wish they were a little bit better at linking to people that weren't them. But that is.
You can't if you can't find the link, you can't afford it, Aaron.
It's true.
I'm just gonna.
These things are not going to be cheap.
Hey, Papa Evan, can I borrow
5 kids?
20 G's? Yeah, 20 G's minimum. I do want to hang Demonic Tutor in the lobby of my church. Just
do you remember that? Like, do you remember when the game first came out and they just sort of sprinkled like demonic, satanic imagery everywhere?
Unholy Strength and
people lost
Restless Dead. Oh yeah.
I mean.
Clutch my pearls, man.
I believe, because look, I lived in the religious South, y'all. So
sure did.
I heard about it, and it was like, my mom was just like, Jesse, are you playing that demonic game?
There's an episode of Unsolved Mysteries about I love Unsolved Mysteries. They never mention Magic by name, but they make this weird connection to like Magic and this couple getting murdered, and they're like, it's a game with cards, and you can pretend to be like a dragon.
Right.
And it's like.
Yep.
And they did
They
the
thought
whole
it was
thing
an
with Dungeons
occult
and
game,
Dragons,
yeah.
and they
Right.
made a terrible TV movie about it.
With
It was
Tom
just
Hanks?
With Tom Hanks. It was
Magic
just
and Monsters? Man, that movie was so bad.
So
oh,
funny.
Lord God. So the idea that you can buy the original Demonic Tutor, the original Mana Flare, like even Contract from Below is dope. J.M. Tome, that is
J.M. Tome's
classic.
unreal.
Unbelievable classic. Or Pool's Fear, which is also sweet. Like, unbelievable. What are these going to be worth? I have no idea. I can't afford them, but I will be interested in seeing where they end up.
Yeah.
And also note one of the things is that these are very small paintings.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you didn't know, the alpha paintings are 6.75 inches by 5.75 inches. So we're talking a little bit larger than a postcard-ish.
Yeah.
But, man, iconic as they get.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. All right, here. So as we were speaking earlier about where Wizards kind of is getting the sales from these days, well, it's not competitive players, it's Commander players, and now they have a senior game designer job position, senior game designer Commander job position. So you'll develop Commander play experiences at the product level, serve on a small team of designers, collaborate with peers to review sets, all that type of stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I'll bring it up here so you guys can check out the listing.
So, here's my hot take.
Okay.
I think designing for Commander is stupid.
Why is that?
Because designing for Commander makes Commander worse and it makes Standard worse. Because Commander was fine when it was like find garbage rares and put them in a deck that the theme kind of functions. Like, oh, here's my deck full of people wearing hats, right? And here's my cool deck that all has the number 6 on it. And like that was the joy of Commander.
Sure.
And then it went corporate. Punk went corporate is the thing. And now you have cards that are very clearly for Commander, much less stuff like Command Tower and Arcane Signet that are auto includes and everything. So like half your deck is built for you if you want to build the red-white artifact deck or whatever. But it's like designing specifically with Commander in mind makes Commander worse because they're building your decks for you, right? And it's sort of taking that joy of discovery out of it. And it's making the other formats worse because you're putting the tools for Commander either into Standard, sometimes they're planting seeds of like these Commander decks, and sometimes those cards go nuts like Kenrith, right? And then the old formats get ruined too when you have True Name Nemesis and you have, all of these things that are aimed at the old formats. Containment Priest, Council's Judgment, Baleful Strix, the list goes on and on and on those cards. So you aim for one thing, but then the scatter shot hits everything else. I think that Commander was better when it wasn't being specifically designed for.
Right, but you know who buys Magic cards, Ruben?
Yeah, casual people.
Commander players buy casual cards.
I get it. I get that Commander
players. So if you make
players
cards for the people who buy the cards,
I know
they'll buy them more.
I know they
hey,
will.
man.
And if you make cards that are better than the other cards, they're going to buy them. And what are you going to do? Not turn the lever that gives you more money? Of course you are, because Commander is the format of buying a 50-cent rare from Urza's Saga on who are we sponsored by? On Card Hoarder and
or CoolStuffInc.com.
Or CoolStuffInc.com where you can buy cool stuff. But you find your copy of Parallax Tide or Abundance or Child of Alara, and you find these garbage waiting in the weeds, and you put that in your deck, and but now you can't do. Now that doesn't exist anymore.
I do agree
that
with you
market.
For what it's worth, Ruben.
Yeah, it's my opinion. Old man yells at cloud is what I'm doing.
Like, there comes a point in every sort of Magic talking head's life where you go, Wizards is just going to keep doing this, and you can gnash about it if you want to.
Yeah. I'll gnash about it.
And then people get mad at me where I'm just like, if you bought the Secret Lair thing and you threw it in a closet, congratulations.
Look,
we're in the collectibles industry.
Listen,
I don't
man,
know if you know what's going on here. That's how we're living.
I live in the United States, and I'm benefiting from Christopher Columbus's discovery. I'm not going to celebrate Columbus Day. I like Commander, and I think that they're doing a great job supporting the format, and I'm still going to be upset about it. You know what I mean?
That's great. I'm just saying that, like, as we've seen largely. It's not a lot of things going to change, but we certainly want them to. And
man, whatever makes Wizards of the Coast the most money for the rest of time, so that they can keep making Magic. That's really all I care about. Try not to ruin it too bad. Like, try to keep the RPMs down so that you don't blow out the transmission.
Right.
But if we can keep this truck rolling forever, by all means.
Yeah, and that's where I was tweeting earlier this week, was that, we've seen this movie before. We've been down this road. We've seen games go more and more powerful, better rates. They're not giving you Moxes, but my God, what does Omnath do for 4 mana that you haven't seen anything close to for 4 mana ever in the history of Magic? So on and on it goes, and then maybe 20 years from now we reboot.
I don't know. Maybe I'm off base. Chat might think I'm off base. I'm trying to keep up with.
All right.
Whatever, man. If I'm crazy, I'm crazy.
You cray.
Yeah,
it's fine. Magic Arena had its state of the game. Didn't talk about it too much. They're going to have some Zendikar events that are neat, which appear to be a low amount to play in them. And you'll get some cool showcase card styles. They've been doing this for a couple sets now. So you play in little events where pre-built decks and get the showcase card styles of the cards you like.
I love those. I mean, it's free value, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, it's not exactly free, but if you use the gold that you get from daily wins and blah, blah, blah,
very cheap value.
There is going to be another $2,000 arena open because clearly that's making them money.
Yeah.
So as of on Halloween... On day 1 is Halloween. You can see if you can win $2,000. Same setup as usual. You have a day 1 and a day 2, and good luck to all those involved.
And again, I mean, it's like the best value there is sitting on your couch. Like, all you got to do is win 55% of your games, and you make money. Like, it's not terribly hard. Says the guy that has O2'd the 2 that he's played in, but like still, it's
I think I 1-2'd one of them, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Flushing that money down the drain.
Yeah.
There is, however, going to be Kaladesh Remastered. Back in the day, in the original alpha of Arena, there were Kaladesh cards, in the client.
Back in the day, 2 years ago.
I know, right? Back in the original Arena days, the OG Arena, there were Kaladesh cards, and then they were removed at one point, and then it's been so long, I believe they explained it's like the scripting engine or whatever changed, and they had to recode a bunch of stuff. But whatever, we're getting Kaladesh Remastered, much like Amonkhet Remastered, so all the sweet mythics are going to come back. You start on November 5th. Players will have the option to pre-order Kaladesh Remastered to get 10 Kaladesh packs, 3 draft tokens, a playset of Ether Hubs, because Ether Hub, along with the Ether Hub card style for $30. So whether you want to bite on that or not,
Ether Hub means they're bringing energy.
Oh yeah,
to Arena.
Oh yeah. And again, energy was originally there, and it worked just fine in terms of a mechanic. Whether it should be there, whole different discussion. But. And the last thing they touch on is that Extra Life 2020 is happening. This is where they raise funds for the Seattle Children's Hospital, and you can help out with that. And if you, the sleeve is available for $4 that you can get November 6th through 9th. So I thought that was pretty cool. Otherwise, that's pretty much all you got for Arena this week.
Great.
Or this month, rather. What appears to be the last art book in a while is coming for War of the Spark. I have the wrong link here. It's not working correctly. But there is a War of the Spark book that is coming. It is decidedly awesome. It is not decidedly unawesome, which was the novel. The novel was no good. No bueno. But the art book is dope. I believe they announced this is going to be the last one for a while, and that's okay. But I think these books themselves are sweet. Like having something that's disconnected from the game, right? It's just about the art and the lore, right? It's just about like what it looks like and what the story's trying to tell.
Yeah,
like,
if
that
you're
to
a
me is
Vorthos,
great.
I definitely recommend picking them up because there are things you see in the books that aren't necessarily covered in the cards. I picked up the Ravnica Allegiance one, I believe, either that one or the Guilds of Ravnica one, and I picked it up just because I love Ravnica so much. But I read through that thing and I learned so much about the Simic and the Boros, and it was like a history book. It was really cool.
Yeah, highly recommended if you're trying to do world building building for a Ravnica D&D campaign as well. There's a lot of great little hints of storytelling stuff in there that you might be able to drop in.
Yeah, there's a Twitter thread here by James Wyatt, who's the guy who's put together all these books so far. Yep. He mentioned in the Zendikar Rising AMA, for a variety of reasons, War of the Spark art book will be the last of its kind published by Viz Media. Abrams is publishing another line of art books starting with last year's Rise of the Gatewatch of Visual History and continuing with Legends of Visual History coming out soon. Fundamentally, with Magic visiting 3 or more new worlds every year, there's no way for our art books to keep up, but we're always looking for new ways to get more information about our worlds in your hands. However, another sad note, he's not currently planning on doing any more MTG plane shift PDFs. This was the kind of run a little D&D campaign in the world. Here's some stuff you need to know about it.
The little ones.
That type of thing. But, you know, it's one of those things where...
they're still going to come out with Ravnica splash books and Theros splash books, but, like, the plane shifts, the PDFs, the 15-page PDFs for Innistrad and Ixalan, those are... Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising to me.
Sure. I mean, and there's only so many hours in the day, and I'm sure people loved it, but, you know, the man's busy, so...
exactly.
Got to do what you got to do.
James is in high demand.
There you go. All right, so let's move on here.
I do want to touch on that a little bit. There was a bit of controversy surrounding one of the snippets from the War of the Spark art book. So there's a character called Kasmina, which we saw very briefly. She was one of the planeswalkers that among the many that were on Ravnica. And we didn't really know too much about her. And there was a snippet from the book that indicates that she is from a secret order of planeswalkers that is looking to recruit more people. And they're really leaning on the trope that trauma causes a planeswalker to spark. And specifically with Kasmina, they say that she is looking for what she calls embers, and that she helps them discover their potential, even if it means causing trauma to force their spark to ignite. And so the Twitter and the Vorthoses were like, we don't really feel good about this. Like, what is
that's
a
villain trait, is what that is.
When you mean to cause a little trauma, literally a little trauma, like how much is a little trauma when you're trying to literally ignite a planeswalker spark?
Yeah, so some people were not happy about that, and so it'll be interesting to see where they take this character.
Yeah, that's some Magneto crap. I don't think that's not comfy. That is uncomfy.
Yeah, I'm expecting Kasmina to show back up in the Harry Potter, the
Strixhaven. Yeah,
Strixhaven next year.
That sounds about right. That sounds like something Dumbledore would do.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that's weird. I don't know how to admit, like,
it's
what kind of traumas
it's
we talking about? Maybe she's a villain. Who knows? That'd be neat.
Sounds like a villain. If she's a hero, boy, howdy.
Yeesh.
I hate to see who the villain is.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to Desperate Ravings, unless you guys feel strong about anything we got there.
I'm good.
The Walking Dead Just Won't Die Roundup. I have not yet seen the Command Zone. Jimmy and crew talk about it. Jimmy and Josh. I don't know what they have to say yet. The Commander's Quarters continues to step in it. The Mitch guy, look, I understand where you're at, bro. The Mitch guy, and he's trying to make things, and he's spoiling all this stuff from Commander Legends, and it's just not going well. And talking about leaks is not a good idea as your official
general
content.
Rule.
Like we bust a few things in the pre-show here, but those are people who support the channel and support the podcast,
and we put spoiler tags around.
And we tell you very clearly, and we certainly don't put it in like the thumbnail for the video itself.
5 or 6 of them too.
Woof.
Like, oh my god.
Woof, 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 woof. So you know who else posted about the leaks?
Come on, Evan. I've waited 5 years. Oh, let me just hold on.
Man's gonna find some champagne. Look, Star City Games, for whatever reason, compelled them to not only say that there is a massive leak possible. They didn't have to go any further. They could have just been like, here's some rumbles, right? There's some rumbles in some jungles. Here's a news headline. Let's just move on with our day. No. Not only did they have to post the information, they went and they pulled the images from Imager and embedded them from the eBay listing, embedded them from the Imager listing onto their news post. This is the dumbest thing I have seen in a minute from Star City. It's been a minute, not that long, but just seriously, that was stupid, as dumb as you could possibly. Could you just smack wizards in the face? The next time you just be like at the bottom, haha, screw you wizards, law. We show people stuff when you don't want them to see it.
What are they going to do?
That's a brilliant idea. That's a fantastic idea.
Expect from like a major, news source, and even CFB had tweeted something kind of mocking that, where they were like, these are the only leaks that we have, and it was like a bunch of mana leaks or something. But this is really surprising. I would expect this from like a blog or one of the smaller websites, or somebody who doesn't get previews. And
I mean, they want the clicks, right? This is why the news channels started covering more salacious stuff. Like this is where we're headed, I guess.
I mean, whatever. I guess if there's not a tournament series,
it's going to get you the clicks.
Look, if there's not a tournament series, you're worried about pissing wizards off, and they might somehow affect that. Then whatever, man. You want to do something dumb, you dumb on. So there you go. I enjoyed that.
It was a little much that they put it in the screen grab of the article. Same with Commander's Quarters, putting it in like the thing you pull up.
It's funny how times have changed, because I remember even our show, like we did that live show in Vegas, and I remember when the Ixalan sheet came out, and I was really against it, and you two were like, well, the toothpaste is out, and so we should talk about it, and it was a red zone topic. Like we all disagreed on that, and so even in 2 or 3 years, the culture has changed so much to where it's become unanimous that it's bad for content creators to see their cards being spoiled. We've had it affect us. We had Ronas taken from us. And so, it's bad for content creators. It's bad for the game. It feels bad for the people who designed the cards. And so we've all really agreed that it's just not a good thing, but there are just some people who didn't get the memo.
I think it would be hilarious if they were to come out with a new conspiracy set, and the only way that you would get the cards is through leaks. There were no previews.
Well, they kind of did that.
You had to hack the
website.
Didn't
they release like the little snippets, and you had to put the codes together or something?
Stuff like that. Like you have to like hack the website to get the leaks, and then other than that, it's all you see at the pre-release. Man, like that would be hilarious.
I haven't seen one of those websites in a long time where like the website itself is a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like you go to the website and there's like nothing on the page, so you have to look at like the page source, and the page source there's another link that'll go to like the second part. Then you got to go through something else and watch a video and pause it at a certain time. There's a whole variety of things that people did many, many years ago. I don't know if they're still around.
The good old days.
The old internets, let me tell you. Okay. All right. Wizards. Don't get my hopes up. Don't do that to me. Look, today came out some newly registered domains. Okay. And
this is not spoilers. This is public information.
Who is information on registrars around the world is a thing, and the idea that they got Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.com, KamigawaND.net, KamigawaND.com, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. You know how unbelievably pumped I am just hearing those words? Y'all don't even know. You just don't. I can't. Look, if the answer is not ninjas and instead it's like a weird Neo Tokyo thing,
it's
they rub it in, like they rub
Blade
it in.
Runner.
So the Kira Blade Runner, like give me some Robotech in there. Let's do this. Let's Gundam. Let's go.
This is like 5,000 years in the future.
Oh my God, I'm
Cyberpunk.
So pumped.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
MTG. Yes.
I kind of love that. I think
it sounds pretty sweet. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so pumped. I can't handle it. Look. You see domains registered. You don't know. We don't know what's going on. Like you hear things like there was a secret layer.
It's Kamigawa Neon Genesis Evangelion. What was it?
Yeah, Neon Dynasty.
Neon Dynasty.
Kamigawa
cool, man.
Neon Dynasty.
Give me those sweet wraparound sunglasses and
like I'm gonna pull something if they like somehow got Akira in on this, and there's like some Akira Tetsuo promo thing. Just nerd out. I'm just gonna pop an aneurysm and just fall over. It's gonna be insane. So
hack the planet. Yeah, I love it.
I don't know, man. Kamigawa Neon Destiny sounds amazing. It's got me super pumped.
Those are 3 words that I did not think I would hear today.
Wow. Yeah.
Together.
Let's bring neon and magic, man.
Neon Dynasty.
It's also bringing Scarlett Johansson to magic.
Ooh, I like that dagger. That was a good one.
Go.
It was both subtle and well executed.
Very nice.
Like many ninjas.
All right, here. So we're at 11:45. Do you guys would like to talk about any other topics at this time? We got a few more here. There was Willy had noted that there is no path to.
Oh, Hasbro's president retiring is big news.
It's a thing.
I mean, that's big news. I mean,
it is big news certainly in the industry. Don't get me wrong, but do note one of the things they say in the article is that he's going to stick around for another year as a consultant. So for another year, nothing really. I think is going to
hand off the baton, but
to really show him here's how
John
everything works.
Frascati will retire March 31st of 2021 when his current contract expires.
Right.
Which is that's a pretty big deal.
No, it is.
And he's been there for 13 years, which is half of Magic's lifespan, more than half of Magic lifespan. So that's a big deal, and that's the person who's making decisions at the top. Whenever any movement happens at the top, be it Chris Cox, be it when Mark Rosewater one day retires, any of those big decisions, those are huge, and so it's just worth mentioning.
Oh, absolutely. So, and there was a reason it was in the show notes, this is one of those things where look what happened when Wizard of the Coast had a new president, right? Like it was a different company, 5-6 years ago now?
Exactly.
It just was.
Hasbro is also going to be a different company when somebody else is at the top.
Right. So, there we go. All right. Let's turn the corner here to the finisher. MTG Remy hit the button again this week as his most recent parody music video, quote, Land Down Under, all about the graveyard decks, or is all about the graveyard decks. And we know this because Aaron got tagged in it about 1 million times. The Weird Al of Magic has been making the Meat musical Magic content since 2012, and he's got no signs of ending that streak anytime soon. So tell me, if you had Remy's ear, what song idea would you pitch to him? Ruben?
Well, the internet has recently fallen in love with Fleetwood Mac's 1977 hit Dreams.
Good.
Thanks to Nathan Apodaca, better known as 420 Dogface 208, the surprise feel-good story of 2020 with his Crayon Raspberry Ocean Spray and longboard. You say you want your freedom, well, who am I to keep you banned? It's only right that you should play the deck that you want to.
Aaron?
You want to go viral? Well, then you need to get them Tic-Tac Zoomy Doomers on board. So all you need is to cover one of them 12-second clips that got hot thanks to Charlie D'Amelio or Addison Rae shaking their groove thing to the tunes. And there ain't nothing bigger right now than Doja Cat. I'm a lich. I'm a loss. I'm a lich. It's a loss. I'm a beat Tom Ross. I'm a lich. I'm a loss. It's great. Love it.
I wish I could hold a candle to that. There ain't nothing bigger right now than Among Us.
Oh, yeah.
And the big meme right now is Shaggy's It Wasn't Me to go along with the P-Sus imposter motif. So Remy, WotC came in and they caught me red-handed.
You can do better than that. WotC came in and they caught me red-handed, creeping with the lands next door. Picture this, we were land falling, adding mana. There you go. Come on.
Add mana and gain in 4. That's right. It's been a minute since I heard that one.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Ooh, we have more bits.
Goodness.
Time Slip gave us 420 bits
Oh my
for
goodness,
420
thank you.
Dogface. Thank you so
Nice.
much.
Nice.
Much appreciated. And Kaburi gave us 100 bits. Thank you so much.
Kabori.
Thank you. All right. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
We'll move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMicsPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMicsPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.